Hey guys, it's Gannon, NXT. It's been quite a while, and the question or the topic NXT want me to cover is it's the minefield that is, and to do with diet nowadays, carb cycling specifically. So I just want to keep it, as always, attempt to keep it short and simple, short, sweet, and simple. I'm not looking at this from a pre-contest or a competitive standpoint, looking from a daily living perspective. I think that makes the most sense for pretty much everyone listening to it. Carb cycling, like any other approach, is still determined, or it still hinges on the one variable above all others, and that's still, as boring as it is to say, it's calories. Calories in, calories out. Are you in a surplus? Are you in a deficit? And that is going to determine, that's 90% of, well, I'm not going to put a percentage on it. It pretty much is the vast majority. That's what your success or your failure is going to hinge on. Are you trying to gain weight? Doesn't matter what approach you use, you need to be in a surplus. And I'm not getting into any controversial stuff here. Leave that aside. Like I said, this is basic and straightforward for general pop. And if you're trying to lose weight, it doesn't matter what approach you're following, whether it's carb cycling, keto, intermittent fasting. If you're not in a deficit, or you're not, as I say, whatever if you're keep it at that, if you're on the deficit, you're not going to lose weight. That is the bottom line. The problem is people tend to reach towards different dietary approaches when they claim that they've been eating, they've been tracking their food, and they have been in a deficit and they're not losing weight. We know what's going on there. They're simply not tracking, or they're simply lying to themselves for the most part. There are one or two cases where you will see people well outside the bell curve, and we'd have to look a lot deeper, because they may have some or they simply do. But again, I'm not talking about those individuals. 90% of people, if they're in a deficit, they will lose weight. If they're in a surplus, they will gain weight. And anything other than that is unfortunately is horseshit. So carb cycling like anything else, it's very individualized. For me, it's always been higher carbs on the training day, and so higher calories for it, and then lower carb on the non-training, and so obviously a little less calories. It can be done where you will cycle your fats to be lower on your training days with higher carbs, and then you may increase your fats on the non with the carbs to go down. Me, I just keep my protein and my fats constant, and I prefer just to work it as a carb and a calorie cycle. So for talk's sake, it could be, as I say, 5,000 grams, 5,000 calories on the training day, and then maybe 4,000 or 4,400 on. In the past, I've cycled that way lower. I've went down as low as 2,000 calories on a non-training day, and I've been up at 5 to 6 on the training day. It really depends. I do that if my calories are very high. It works very well to give the digestive system a chance to recover on the non-training. It improves, I say, digestive efficiency. If you're bombarding your tummy with high calories day in, day out constantly, appetite will suffer, and it becomes an issue of force feeding, and I'm not a fan of that, and I don't believe that the body ever needs to be force fed. I think that there's always ways around that, where we can put it in a more advantageous position, where food is still a pleasure to eat and not a chore. That's another story. But for carb cycling, it can be really effective, and as I say, it's a great tool to put forward towards reaching your goals, but it still falls, and it still must obey calories in, calories out. The whole notion that insulin and looking at the hormonal status, and that being number one over the amount of food going in your mouth, it's misguided. And while I do think it is certainly important to factor in where your body is at in terms of your stress levels and thyroid function and all that. That's you're going to have to go deeper and not just look at a couple of grams of carbs to control your insulin, and if I eat less carbs I'm going to lose weight because I'm not secreting as much insulin. That's also complete and utter horseshit. So if you want the carb cycle, but there needs to be structure on it. You need to know your protein, your carbs, your fats, and your overall calories going in. And to simply go and carb cycle because keto didn't work for you or intermittent fasting didn't work for you, carb cycling is not going to work for you because you're still not tracking. I still see it, and with the message is still out there in some camps that calories aren't important. It's food quality and macronutrients. And look, in some cases that will work if people are reasonably good at auto-regulating, but in most cases it's an outright disaster. And then we hear that, well, diets just don't work for me, and etc., etc. Diets work for everyone, and the word diet is tracking your food properly, correctly, and knowing what's going in and out. That works for everyone. You're not special. You're not this snowflake where the rules don't apply to you. There's always a reason, but that approach, that's where you need to be at with it. So carb cycle away, keto away, whatever approach you want. I do like carb cycle. I think it's very, very effective across the board, and it allows all the nuances, and it can be structured and catered toward each individual. So I would say go for it, but only when you have everything else in line alongside it. Not a magic bullet.